Hello and welcome to another video. This is the 16th episode of the story in which Jiraiya and Tsunade are supposed to watch over Naruto, but instead Orochimaru takes care of him. How will this affect others as well as both of them? What will it mean for Konoha? This story was written by Brown Phantom. Kindly support him, her. Like and subscribe to help to support videos. Let's start this show. Here we are, Minato, Hokage. Our new home. Kushina told her revived husband as the walls of the youngest shinobi village came into view. Not too long ago we were saying that to you, Oka-san. Naruto told her. As the group got closer, they were greeted by a trio of masked ninja. Minato got cautious, but Kushina patted his shoulder. Relax, they're the umbu of the village, but here they're called altos instead. Hokage-sama, you've returned. Subsonic was here yesterday and informed us of your victory over Konoha. The center alto stated. Yes. How have things been in Oto in our absence? Orochimaru inquired. Overall things have been peaceful. Should we go relieve your stand-in of her duty? Orochimaru shook his head. No, I'll do that myself. Return to your duties. Yes, sir. The three altos then vanished. Orochimaru turned to his group. All of you can take the remainder of the day off to relax and enjoy being home. Just be ready to return to active duty tomorrow except for those still in need of treatment. There were many sighs of relief from the Oto Nin. And from one Suna Kunoichi who was next to Naruto. Good. I get a day of fun with Ruto-kun. Haven't had that in a while. Naruto smiled. Just remember, Mari-chan, we've got plenty of time to do all you want. Flashback, the trip back from Konoha did not take long for the Oto and Suna armies, though the trip was shorter for Oto. Since the two armies had to go in different directions, they could not travel together for long, but Kazekage and Orochimaru made sure to keep the two together for a short time to defer any possible immediate retaliation from Konoha. When they finally reached the point where the two had no choice but to fork, Kazekage and his children got together with the Sannin and Naruto. Minato was busy getting reacquainted with Kushina for the moment in a non-sexual way. Yes, Kazekage-sama? Orochimaru asked. Hokage-sama, I wish to thank you for giving me this chance to attack the man who conspired against my family and village, and I hate to do this, but I have two requests to make. Orochimaru tilted his head slightly. I'm listening. My first request is as Kazekage. Since the Wind Daimyo conspired with Sarutobi against me, I won't feel justice is completely served until I do something to him as well. When I face him, I'd like support from your village if possible. If for nothing else then to surprise him and provide my shinobi aid if he turns on us. The Sannin looked at each other. I understand your concern, Kazekage-sama, but personally I think this is more about your village than ours and not something we should make our business. Tsunade told the gold dust user. But on the other hand, we can't just ignore a request from our ally, especially right after they just helped us out in something that was more personal for us than for them. Jiraiya added. Tsunade didn't look convinced. I agree on that, but personally what exactly do you plan to do, Kazekage-sama? Kill the daimyo and hope his replacement knows better? How far have you thought ahead? I'm still in the developing stages of the plan. Rest assured I won't act until I've thought of everything. I just wanted to know that if I needed I could rely on your help in this in the future. Kazekage told them. Orochimaru cleared his throat. In that case the wisest thing for us to do is not promise anything until we hear an actual plan. But rest assured, Kazekage-sama, we will at least hear your future plan out before deciding when the time comes. That will suffice. Suna's fourth leader told the Sannin. My second request is as a father. I feel that Temari might benefit from spending some actual time with Naruto for a bit. Naruto blushed lightly as did Temari, but neither looked opposed to this. How long? Jiraiya asked. I think a year is not a bad estimate, maybe longer if something were to come up. Kazekage replied. Temari turned to her father, Oda-sama. I'm not planning on getting pregnant that soon. Who said anything about you getting pregnant? Kazekage asked her, suddenly embarrassing Temari. He then returned his attention to the Sannin. All I ask is that you don't forbid her from returning to Suna from time to time and recognize her as a chunin. Now Temari no longer looked embarrassed. Really, Oda-sama? He nodded. I felt you earned it, though personally I wish you had kept your clothes on during your match. What in Kami-sama's name were you thinking? Temari shrugged. I deceived enemies ahead of time into thinking I was an easy target so during the invasion I could kick their asses easier. It's hard to take someone seriously as a fighter if you can't stop undressing them with your eyes. I just sort of forced that onto them. Tsunade folded her arms. And here I thought you just didn't want to lose a contest of sex appeal with your opponent. Temari looked away. That might have been part of it, but that wasn't the main reason. Yeah, right. Kazekage looked at his only daughter analytically. Maybe I was wrong about you becoming chunin just yet. Or getting to be with a boy for so long either. Temari looked rather bothered. Oda-sama, I can handle staying genin, but you promised me I could spend some time with Ruto-kun after our business in Konoha was done. If it makes you feel better I can ensure she is on birth control the entire time. Tsunade offered. I'd feel even better if she remained a virgin until marriage. Kazekage stated. Hold on, why are you talking like I'm going to jump her first chance I'll get? Naruto asked. You'll understand when you have a daughter. Kazekage answered simply. Temari crossed her arms firmly. Oda-sama, all you can get is our word that we'll do nothing until our wedding night. If that's not good enough for you, what is? A vow signed in blood? Not a bad idea. Fine, then write it up so I can sign it. Temari told her father, surprising him since he half expected her to resist such a requirement. Kazekage grinned and pulled out a rolled-up piece of paper from inside his robes. Already did. Just sign in blood both of you and the deal's done. Temari was more than ready, but before she could grab the contract, Naruto interjected. Hold on, I was under the impression that I could only officially marry one girl and the others would be included in my clan but not as legally registered wives. Am I wrong? Because if I'm not, then fulfilling this oath basically dooms Temari-chan to a life of virginity. Temari's eyes widened and she looked at her father, hoping he wasn't trying to trap her into something. To her relief, Kazekage looked unaware too. Wait, is this true? I was under the impression that any bonds would be legalized. Tsunade turned to Naruto. Naruto, where did you heard that? That's the way all the girls have been discussing it when we're together. How Hina-chan would be the one true wife and the other 8 would be like semi-wives or something like that. He answered. Someone must have misheard something or not bothered to get the facts straight. Jiraiya replied. Boy, in cases like Temari and Fu, the marriage would have to be legalized to settle any inter-village strife. In that case, why wouldn't the others be allowed to become legal wives too? Naruto was stunned. I didn't think of that. Orochimaru grinned. Trust me Naruto, in this situation the only reasonable choice is for 9 legal marriages to you. The only rank in wives here is whatever you and they impose on them. Which I don't recommend. Treat them like wives, not soldiers. Of course. Why wouldn't I? Naruto stated, without any doubt. Jiraiya held up one finger though to bring up a point. Although Naruto, you will have to pull rank once in a while. The girls are bound to argue with each other on occasion and it's your responsibility to ensure it doesn't get out of hand or tear anyone apart. Do what you can to please them as well as keep them from getting out of control, just like they'll be doing the same to you. Naruto nodded. Got it. Don't be spineless but don't be a dictator either. So am I going with Naruto-kun or not? Temari asked, wanting an official answer. Her father held up the written deal again. Sign this and you can. End flashback, show me where the hot springs are Ruto-kun. I want to spoil myself with some water. We never do that back home. Temari told him as they walked through the gates. Then how do you get clean? He asked, not sure what to imagine since water usage in Suna was greatly restricted. Temari grinned teasingly. Would you like me to show you? At his blush she giggled then gave him a light kiss on the cheek. Isaribi walked up alongside them. If you want to know where the best water is, I'll be happy to show you. I even know where the co-ed places are and the best places to go skinny dipping are. Temari smiled. I'm listening. After all the ninja who survived the battle went home, Orochimaru went to his office. There at his desk was his fill-in, the head of the Altos, busy doing paperwork and not looking happy about it. Damn it, I did not sign up for this mind-numbing crap. The substitute told herself. Actually, you did. Orochimaru jokingly told her from the doorway. Immediately the seat filler looked up and smiled. Orochimaru-sama, so glad to see you. Subsonic-san already returned and told us the good news how Operation Burning Leaf was a success. Good. How have things been in my absence, Guren? The purple-haired crystal user stood up and stretched. Not bad. Nothing really happened, though I hated being cooped up in this office all day long. Was there really no one better than me to do your duties in your absence? My teammates and the Sound Five were with me for added measure. Without them, naturally the head of the Altos takes command. Who else would have fit this role so well? Maybe Tsunade-sama's assistant? Guren suggested. Orochimaru shook his head. Shizun-chan's not a leader. She's more suited to follow. Besides, she already had a duty she couldn't ignore. I bet she's as relieved to be free of it as I am. Guren added. At that time Tsunade was headed to her house, which as expected wasn't locked. Shizun? Oh good, you're home Tsunade-sama. Shizun said stepping into view from the kitchen wearing an apron. Where's Jiraiya-sama? He's busy at the moment with Naruto's parents. Where's Isato-chan? Mommy. A 3-year-old with spiky light blonde hair and brown eyes shouted as he scurried out of the kitchen, arms out ready to grab Tsunade. The slug Sannin smiled and knelt down, scooping up the little boy. How's my little man? Were you good for Auntie Shizun? The boy nodded but didn't stop hugging her. Thanks to Naruto's age control, both Jiraiya and Tsunade ended up having a child a few years ago. They named him Isato Senju, and he looked exactly like a young Jiraiya with very light blonde hair. Tsunade prayed her son would not inherit his father's personality when older. He was fine, though he kept asking for you practically every hour. Shizun told her mentor, wiping her hands on her apron. Your timing is good, I just made lunch. Well, for him anyway. I was about to make a sandwich for myself. Sounds good to me. Shizun smiled and turned away, but then stopped. Wait, Tsunade-sama, did you just say Naruto's parents? Yes. As in plural? Yes. How can that be? Tsunade smirked. Oh boy, have I got a story for you. Jiraiya was with Kushina and Minato in the room in the Hokage tower given to Kushina by Orochimaru. Another time Orochimaru was grateful he had the architects design it as a residence as well as a place of business. Kushina and Minato were seated on her bed while Jiraiya leaned against the wall. Okay, I didn't want to go into deal about this around prying eyes, but now I can tell you Minato exactly how we managed to resurrect you as we did. The Toad Sannin started. Please do. I thought it would be impossible given the Edo Tensei wasn't completed in my lifetime. The alive-again former Hokage responded. Jiraiya nodded. It wasn't. But Orochimaru does wonders when he researches stuff. I bet if he had it in him he'd make books that would rival my own. Anyway, he did complete the Edo Tensei, but discovered it had specific conditions to work. For one, a living sacrifice must be made. A soul for a soul sort of thing. And the revived souls can be controlled, but that's not an automatic feature. Meaning the revived soul can turn against the jutsu user if not controlled with an add-on seal. So I can be controlled like a robot? Minato asked defensively. I honestly don't know. It is possible, but rest assured none of us have that in mind for you. Jiraiya told his student. Now, the effects of the jutsu are intended to never wear off until either the body is completely obliterated to the point regeneration is impossible, or the revived soul attains a peace it couldn't get in life. Like a dying regret being soothed, that general idea. But if none of that happens, then the revived soul keeps fighting until the user actually cancels it out. And the jutsu can last even if the user dies before canceling. So basically the jutsu on me hasn't been cancelled yet? Minato asked. Not particularly. What I described is the main setup for the jutsu. But we didn't use that, we used a more effective means. You see, we found that the revived soul is basically a kyushi, a zombie if you will, though not flesh-eating and decomposing. But not a true person brought back to life. After years of study we theorized there was only one possible way to accomplish such a feat, bringing you back any other way would be cruel. Are you saying? Minato asked, but couldn't finish. Jiraiya nodded. After Tsunade-chan examined you on our way back, she found nothing unusual about your physiology, so we have no reason to believe it didn't work. It looks like you've truly been brought back to life. Congratulations, you've beaten even death itself, Yellow Flash. But how did you do that? Minato pressed. It wasn't easy. We needed two extra things. First, we needed a living sacrifice that was not only willing to be killed for this, but also dead for no more than 2 minutes. And second, we needed a fresh sample of your chakra. We got the first from a senior in Suna who was willing to be used, and the second was from the chakra you placed in the seal on Naruto. By getting all this done, we were able to bring you back to life. But without my chakra in his seal my son could dash, Minato started. Kushina cut him off and put her hand on his arm to pacify him. He'll be fine, dear. He and Kyubi are actually on tolerable terms. Nothing should go wrong. Besides, he doesn't have my chakra in him anymore. He used it to get me out of my coma. The former yondaime still looked concerned. Rest assured, Minato, that Naruto is fine. Jiraiya told him. He was even happy to hear about it and was glad to help out. He already got his mother back, and now he gets his father too. Well, I can't say I'm not glad to be back at least. Minato said with a chuckle. And the first thing you said to your dear wife was, "You've gotten older?" Kushina asked, not threatening yet not completely joking either. I wasn't serious, coy. You look just like you did last time I saw you, except without all the baby weight. Minato clarified. Kushina smiled. It's okay. I was kind of glad to hear your old joke again. Made me know my husband really was back. Kushina and Minato had an old joke between them. One time a Chunin Minato had to go away for a mission that required him to be away for 3 months. Kushina, already dating him, told him she'd wait for him. When he got back, he smiled at her and said, "Wow, you've gotten old," a jibe at the Uzumaki longevity. Needless to say, Kushina didn't find it too funny. At least not the first time. He said it each time he came back to her after a mission that lasted more than a day, and she learned to laugh at it with him. Anyway, as I was saying, Minato, you should be exactly the same as you were the last time you were alive. Down to the last detail. Jiraiya told him. But Minato added, sensing there was more. There is of course a catch, besides the strict narrow requirements for a revival on such a scale. The catch is you only have so long to stay alive. Your lifespan is based on the sacrifice used. You gain the remaining lifespan the sacrifice had as your own, and when that's used up, you'll die of old age regardless of your own age. So, however long the guy who died for me was going to keep living, that's how long I've got left to live. Minato asked. Jiraiya nodded. How long is the estimate? Kazekage-sama and Tsunade's medic said that old guy had another 10 years in him or so. He wasn't a feeble old man or anything of the sort. He was just retired and he had no family remaining, so he figured what exactly would he be missing out on if he gave his life for this? But still, I'm alive because someone else died. I feel guilty somehow. Minato's aide, his hands lightly quivering. Your son is alive because you died for him. Jiraiya told his student. Like you Minato, the man who volunteered had lived a full life and died without regrets, knowing his death would not be in vain. Are you going to make his sacrifice meaningless by not using the life he helped you acquire? No, I'm in no hurry to die again. 10 years is better than nothing. I just hope this jutsu isn't used all the time. Jiraiya-sama, I was wondering something. Kushina spoke up. Couldn't Naruto use his age control to make Minato younger and give him more time? I'm not sure. It might work, but it might also end up undoing the jutsu completely and we'd end up with a corpse. For now, let's not work about that. Maybe in a year or so we can try and see. Minato nodded in understanding, thankful that along the way to Oto they explained to him about Naruto having 9 Kekkai Genkai. Hey, if Naruto can control people's ages, why not have him make the old man from Suna younger so I'd have more time to live? Jiraiya was stunned silent then smacked himself in the forehead. Damn it, why didn't I think of that before? Don't beat yourself up over it sensei. Like I said before, 10 years is better than nothing. Hey, maybe I'll get lucky and live longer. Minato said with a grin. Jiraiya felt better. Now, I'll let you two have some private time you couldn't get on the trip back here. Just remember to be in Orochimaru's office this evening. He then gave his super pervert smile. And try to keep it quiet. People live here after all. Away from the girls for a little while, Naruto walked into Ichiraku's restaurant and saw Ayame and Tucci at the counter. Hey guys. The two chefs immediately perked up and smiled. Naruto. Good to see you. Did you make chunin? Tucci greeted. Don't know yet. I probably won't for a day or two. He said as he sat at the counter, seeing the restaurant wasn't empty. A few other customers and staff members came over to congratulate him for being in the chunin exams and asked him how it went. Naruto only told what he felt was safe to tell, since some of the information was confidential. Information such as Minato's rebirth. Well, we can't give you your promised free bowl until it's confirmed. Sorry. Tucci told his favorite customer. Wait, we get a free bowl if we reach chunin? One of the academy students asked. That deal only works with our regular customers, not occasional customers. The old ramen chef replied, not wanting to make it sound like Naruto got special treatment here. Hey Naruto, where's your girlfriend? Ayame asked. She's with a few of our other friends right now, girl talk she said. He told her. Like how to make a polygamous relationship work between themselves? Ayame asked. Naruto blushed. I think so. I didn't really ask. They just said they wanted some alone time for an hour or two. When I go back they'll probably want to tell me something. I hope they're good to you. Just because they outnumber you doesn't mean they can dominate you in the relationship. Ayame told him. But I shouldn't dominate them either. Naruto added, remembering what Jiraiya advised him not too long ago. Ayame smiled and nodded. Right. In a relationship, power is shared, not monopolized. Anyway, I just want you to be happy. Enko's not the only one to love you like a sister. So Nae-san, have you found a boyfriend yet? The whiskered blonde asked. The brunette girl looked away. Not yet, I can't find the right kind of guy. But enough about that, would you like your usual or something different this time? So what are we all here for? Tayuya asked as she and several others were gathered in Hinata's bedroom. Because for once all 9 of us who want to be with Naruto-kun are in one place at one time, and I think we should set a few ground rules while we have the chance. Hinata said, looking over Isaribi, Haku, Fu, Sasami, Kin, Tayuya, Temari, and Hanabi. Counting herself, this was Naruto's entire planned-out harem. Wait, then why is she here? Sasami asked, pointing at Hanabi. Didn't you hear? I'm the 9th girl in the group. You can't be in this group. You're too young. Kin stated. I'm only 3 years younger than you. Temari-san is 2 years older than you, and Tayuya-san is 3 years older. Besides, I'm not going to be a kid forever, and I don't see anyone else offering to join, do you? Actually, that's something I need to tell everyone about. Fu suddenly said, drawing everyone's attention. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I think we may have a problem here. What's that? Her teammates asked. The thing is, I have to be part of the harem. It's not just a matter of love, it's also a matter of my well-being. I care for Naruto-kun like no one else, since I share his situation. But this group is the only thing keeping me out of Taki. The green-haired Jinchuriki started. What do you mean? I thought that issue was resolved years ago. Hinata asked. It was put on hold, never resolved. Fu clarified. You know that the general population of Taki don't care about me one bit, but their governing body does see value in me by default because of my Jinchuriki status. They let me come here to Oto because they thought it would be wiser on their resources and time to have this village train me instead. They wanted you to be their weapon, but they were too lazy to train you themselves? Hanabi asked, not seeing the reasoning there. They were more apathetic than lazy. Plus I think they intended for me to be their mole, see what Oto and the Sannin have to offer, then take it back to Taki for their more favored ninja. Too bad they didn't count on me growing to love Oto more than Taki. Why would they think otherwise? Hanabi added. I was just a dumb socially isolated kid back then. At the time I probably would have sold out Oto to get some form of respect back in Taki. But being around Naruto-kun and being treated like a human being rather than a bug, sorry Shichibi, it made me feel, love. Love for this village. Love for the Sannin. Love for my team. And yes, love for Naruto-kun. I can't go back to Taki, but if I don't have something ironclad holding me here, Taki may abuse the law or ignore it to get me back. They've only let me stay as long as I have in hopes I have more use to them as a chunin than as a genin. Being part of Naruto-kun's harem would give you a legitimate legal reason to remain in Oto no matter what your rank is. Hinata stated. Fu nodded. Yes. If I become a member, then I belong to a clan, and any actions done against me by Taki would be considered an act of war. With Iwa and Suna to back us up, Taki would have to be insane to do such a thing, especially with their greatest ally Konoha now recovering from its own attack. I wonder if that was also part of the invasion plan or just a side benefit. Tayuya wondered. I'm going to go with side benefit. We are on good terms with Taki after all, but Fu does kind of put that truce on a precipice. The issue was brought up to Taki in the last meeting between village leaders, which was at the time I became genin. Shibuki-sama is on good terms with the Sannin and has a lot of influence over Taki's other leaders, so he was able to strike up a deal. If I get a husband in Oto by the time I become chunin and he comes from a clan, I get to stay in Oto with my new family. If he isn't, I have to go back to Taki with or without him. Naruto-kun would be enough to keep you here. Sasami commented. Fu nodded. That's what Tsunade-sama told them. They knew he and I would be good for each other and wrote up a contract saying I'd get to be with him in Oto if we got together before I became Chunin. She then turned to Hinata. So on paper, I've actually been promised to Naruto-kun long before you were even engaged to him. Don't worry, I won't usurp you. You were his first choice after all, something I was prepared to live with. But then, all this time you were worried you'd be sent back to Taki because he liked me more? Hinata asked, shocked that this girl remained so calm. Why didn't you try to make a move earlier? I guess I love Naruto-kun more than I love Oto. I'd rather be in Taki than try and take his happiness away from him like that. Hinata shed a tear but wiped it away. Does anyone know how soon the results of the exam will be? Usually it takes a week to confirm. Maybe longer if something with higher priority comes up. Tayuya answered. Fu looked at Hinata with wide eyes. Wait, you don't mean? Hinata nodded. You are a deep friend of Naruto-kun's and I don't want to be selfish about him anymore. And I don't think any girl here would deny you this chance. The other girls all shook their heads no, though Tayuya added a fuck no to it. Fu smiled and had happy tears in the corners of both eyes. Thanks Hinata, but I'm afraid it's a bit more complicated than that. First, I need to be legally declared Naruto-kun's wife. Not just a mistress, a real wife. And I can't take that from you. You won't have to. Hinata said, surprising her. Naruto-kun told me on our way back here that Jiraiya-sama told him it's possible to make you all legally wives to Naruto-kun and co-wives to each other. My marriage to Naruto-kun will only have more standing if we decide it does, and that only matters in our private lives. Yeah, I was there when the old man said that. Temari noted. So, I can truly be Naruto-kun's wife? Fu asked and Hinata nodded. And you'll let me marry him and consummate the union this week if we have to? Hinata nodded again. Fu smiled and hugged Hinata. Thank you so much Hinata. I can only hope Naruto-kun is as willing as you are. If anything he'll be more willing to do this. Hinata replied. But only if you marry him first. I do need to do this soon, since it's very likely I'll become Chunin, but I think you deserve to be his first. The green-haired Jinchuriki stated. If I must I must. The Byakugan wielder said but with no complaint whatsoever in her tone. What about the rest of us? Kin asked. None of us are in as desperate a need as Fu is. Temari told her. She's at risk of deportation and never being able to see her loved one again, so we have to give her some leeway here. The rest of us will get our turns in due time. And everyone, there's one more thing about my situation. Fu added, making everyone more curious. I still have to pass down my own bloodline too, but as we all know the odds of a child having two bloodlines is slim to none. Elsewhere in the world, a red-headed woman with lava and boil releases sneezed. Can't you just have some kids with one of Naruto-kun's bloodline and some kids with your own? Haku asked. I could, that was my original plan. But that means I have to be pregnant twice as much as any of you all. And remember what Kushina-sama told us. A female Jinchuriki's seal is weakest while giving birth. So each time I have a child, we risk Shichibi getting released and me dying in the process. That surprised the girls. Shichibi might not be a very hostile demon, but a released Bijou was always disorientated and vulnerable to outside influences like Genjutsu, meaning a repeat of Kushina's birthing was not impossible for Fu to experience. Oto would be at serious risk and a new Jinchuriki would have to be created at the sacrifice of even more life. Not to mention the loss of Fu would devastate Naruto, who would lose a wife, a friend, and the mother of one of his children all at once. So what do we do? Sasami asked. Fu took a deep breath. The way I see it, we only have two choices. Either I risk it, or, and this is not easy for me to suggest, we bring a 10th girl into the harem. What? The other 8 girls asked. I know how it sounds, but hear me out. I have to pass down my own bloodline too, but I can't have too many kids without risking my life and the entire village. If we include a 10th girl here, she could pass down the bloodline Naruto would have given my children, so he passes down all 9 of his and my own still gets passed down with him being the father. Everyone thought it over, and Hanabi was the first to speak up. I admit it at least has merit, but even if we went with it, who would the 10th girl be? That I don't know. But we have time to figure that out. Fu answered. A 10th girl would be the wise choice here. Kin thought out loud. But we set the limit at 9. If we go to 10, then what's to stop us from including an 11th or a 12th? Where will the line be drawn if not 9? Haku asked. A 10th girl would have to be the absolute most. The question is, do we really need one? Temari asked. We should have Naruto-kun be part of the decision. This affects him too. Sasami told them all. Hinata nodded. True. Let's ask him when he comes home. Until then, why don't we go over what we want all our own weddings to be like? That certainly got all the girls in a better mood. Orochimaru was in his office going over things with Guren when Jiraiya, Minato, and Kushina walked in. Guren was quite surprised to see the yellow flash alive again. Wow, I can't believe that theory worked. We got lucky on that one, but luck rarely repeats itself. Orochimaru commented. What can I do for you all? Should we announce my presence? Afrokimaru? Minato asked, then ended with a playful teasing smirk. Orochimaru saw red and came right up to Jiraiya. I ordered you never to bring that up again. I didn't. He did. Jiraiya confidently replied, trying so hard not to laugh at his teammate's anger. What's going on, Orochimaru-sama? Guren asked, not seeing the problem here. Oh, you didn't know? Jiraiya asked. Well, one day a few years ago shut up Dobe or I swear you're going to regret it. The snake Sannin threatened. Now Jiraiya was full-blown laughing. Minato crossed his arms but looked pleased. Sensei told us what our son did during his reckless phase. How he tampered with your shampoo and mousse and it resulted in your hair getting all curly. And poofy, like an afro. And you couldn't get rid of it for days. He was trying not to chuckle at the mental image, as was Kushina. Guren was surprised to hear this. Naruto did that? Wow. Orochimaru groaned and palmed his face. I was so embarrassed I refused to show my face until it wore off. Then Jiraiya just had to see me like that. He gave me that stupid nickname on the spot. The toad Sannin still laughed. You should have seen your face, Afrokimaru. Should I bring up what Naruto did to you that week, Dobe? The leader of Oto retaliated, silencing his teammate. Naruto left him a message saying Subsonic had something to tell him, but the message led him right into a prostate exam that Naruto already had scheduled for him. Kushina and Guren laughed loudly at that, but Minato shivered and gave his sensei a shocked look. How could you, or any man, walk into a prostate exam without realizing it? Jiraiya's face was bright red and his rear was clenching from the memory. I had no idea there had been an appointment made. The note asked me to meet Subsonic in a hospital room, and given her civilian career I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't until I entered the room and saw a male doctor putting on a rubber glove saying I arrived just in time that I started to worry. And you didn't escape? Of course I tried, but the door was locked, apparently by Naruto waiting outside. Then I was told until I had the test I'd have to be put on hold for shinobi duty on medical leave. I was trapped and had no way out. So to save face he lost his ass. Orochimaru added, a bit of mirth in his own voice and expression now that the tables have turned. After the laughing died down, Kushina spoke up. So what was Naruto's punishments for all this? We didn't really punish him. I mean, he wasn't even a genin and he showed great capability in outwitting all 3 Sannin in 1 week. Such talent kind of made punishing him feel a bit contradictory to his education. Though we made sure he learned who not to target anymore. Orochimaru told her. Wait, all 3? What did he do to Tsunade-sensei? Kushina asked. You don't want to know. Both male Sannin told her. Minato cleared his throat. Anyway, as I was saying before all this amusing reminiscing, should we announce my being here, Orochimaru? I think it wouldn't be wise, but at the same time I don't see how to avoid it. The snake Sannin told him. If we just come out with it, places like Konoha and Kumo are likely to hear of it soon and maybe even learn where we are. As Hokage I prefer to keep our location hidden a bit longer. But on the other hand we can't just hide you and keep you from having a public life because what would be the point of you being alive then? So I guess at the end of it all, the wise thing to do is let you handle it as you see it. Announce it to the entire village or go out and let the people see you themselves. Thanks Hokage-sama. Minato said. Minato, you're Naruto's father. You can call me Orochimaru when we're not on business like the others do. But don't you dare call me Afrokimaru again. Or what? The former Hokage asked comically. Done with his ramen and having nowhere else to be, Naruto returned to his room and laid down on his bed. It's nice to be home and able to relax. Though it's kinda boring not having anyone to do anything with. It's hard to have fun on my own anymore. Ever since Oto was founded, Naruto always had someone to spend time with. Be it to train, study, play, or even so much as walk, Naruto was rarely without friendly company of some sort. And when one friend wasn't available, another always was. Of course he did have his moments of privacy, but they were rarely involuntary. You know, maybe there are more benefits to this harem arrangement than I originally thought. He told himself. This whole time I've mostly been thinking about how it helps the village's future, not how it helps my own. Let's see. I'll always have company, I'll always have someone to care for who will care for me too, and, well, I guess it won't be too different from my life now except there will always be someone there next to me when I go to sleep or wake up. I'm just glad Hina-chan will be one of them. I'm lucky to have Hina-chan in my life. She's my first friend as far as I can remember and she more than anyone else shares my pain with Konoha. Except for Ankone-chan, Kurinai-ne-chan, Kabuto-nii-san, and Yamato-nii-san, Hina-chan best understands what Konoha did to us. Someone in her old clan endangered her and the village looked away. I mean sure, maybe they didn't know, that I can accept, but they tried to kill her mother for doing what any decent citizen would do, and that shows disregard for its own inhabitants right there. Hina-chan has always been there with me when I tried to do anything. From normal ninja training to Niobe-Akugen training. Heck, even when Ichiraku's reopened here she was the first to eat with me. And the time I broke my arm, she helped make it hurt less until Bachan got to me. I sometimes think Hina-chan and I were always meant for each other, which is why I can't be mad at her for what she was like when this whole harem thing started. If I had to share her with close to a dozen guys I'd probably be marking my territory too. Until she told me to stop like I had to tell her. There was a knock at his door, interrupting his train of thought. Yes? He called out. In walked Subsonic, unmasked and dressed in a casual red blouse and black dress. Hi Naruto. Subsonic, nice to see you. He told her. I'm off duty. You can call me by my name you know. Mikoto reminded him. Alright then. So why did you want to see me? He asked. No reason. I just wondered how you're handling the aftermath of what all you've been through. The former Uchiha matriarch told the blonde, who was like the son she never had, or for all basic purposes, the closest thing to a son she did have. She hadn't even heard anything about Itachi in over 6 years, and Sasuke clearly was independent from her and somewhat indifferent to her. Naruto was sort of her surrogate son, and she in turn was sort of his surrogate mother until Kushina returned. I'm okay, mostly happy to be home. I'm glad to have my father back, but I got most of the excitement of that out of my system on the trip back here. Now I'm letting them have some private time. They haven't had any in 13 years. Mikoto nodded. Yeah, and I suspect they'll go on a second honeymoon in a couple of days. Shouldn't they get remarried then? I mean, it's till death do you part, and Ota-san did die after all. Naruto asked. Mikoto blinked, having not considered that aspect. That's a good point. But I don't think anyone would have the guts to challenge their connection, and even so we could just say they could get their vows renewed, which would legalize their marriage again. Naruto nodded. That sounds good. Speaking of marriage, how are things with you and your future wives? So far I think things are going fine. Hina-chan was a bit too possessive of me for a time, but I managed to get through to her. I'm not going to be a dictator to my girls, but I'm not going to let myself be henpecked by them either. Mikoto nodded in support. You'd probably lose a lot of appeal if you did, but of course you don't want to resist them too much. Women do like feeling like they have some control over the relationship. Eroji-san warned me they like having all the control. Naruto replied. Some do, and some men like that. But for the most part he was just joking around. You'll find that most men you'll get advice from will joke just as much as they advise. But in all seriousness, I'd say let each woman feel valued, but never at the total expense of your own. Sometimes you will have to make sacrifices for the one you love, but if they're right for you they'll make sacrifices too. Relationships are give and take for both, not one side gives and the other side takes. Anyone who thinks like that is better off not being in a relationship at all. That's going to be hard for me since it feels like I'll be given more than I'll give back. Naruto commented. I can see why you'd think that, given the numbers alone. But you'll be giving them everything they want, Naruto. Love, fun, security, children, those are what they want, right? Tell me why you think each girl wants to be with you and why you'd want to be with them. Naruto took a deep breath before he answered. Hina-chan's only ever wanted to share her life with me. We've always been important to the other, but never so important we forget about those around us. When she had to go away for a month to take those kunoichi-only classes to ensure the fangirls were weeded out of the curriculum, I was worried she'd lose interest in me. I was relieved that she didn't, that I wasn't her only reason for becoming a ninja. That's when I knew that Hina-chan was more than just my best friend, she was the one who'd make me happy, because she liked me for all the reasons I wanted to be liked by a girl. That's good. What about the others? Mikoto asked. Isaribi-chan's always been a good friend of mine, even more since we became teammates. She taught me how to swim and I helped her learn to get used to being around others. Naruto answered, remembering how shy Isaribi was when she first joined Orochimaru's group. She was nervous and withdrawn, afraid of what others would do because of Amachi traumatizing her. Naruto was the one who got her out of her shell by being warm and cheerful around her, and it rubbed off on her, allowing her to feel like a person again rather than a lab rat. I think it was because of Isaribi-chan I learned how to be a friend, not just company or a sparring partner. In a way, she's as dear a friend to me as Hina-chan. I just couldn't share my training time with Isaribi-chan before the teams were made given our different styles, so Hina-chan sort of had a head start for my heart compared to her or the other girls. I want her to be happy, like all the others, no matter who she wants that from. Mikoto smiled warmly. Go on. Kin-chan was a good friend to me too. She helped remind me to train outside my bloodlines. I mean sure, when the adults told me I knew it was serious, but when I was a kid it was kind of hard not to. Most of my sparring partners were to help me learn how to fight in my 9-minute windows of opportunity, but she helped me train for other times, and all by training with me. That was so simple an approach yet effective since she was at the same level I was at the time. I honestly think I wouldn't be as good as I am now without her help. And out of all my friends, I think none of them understand me better than Fuchan. Gaara too, but we're not talking about my male friends here. Naruto added. I would hope not. Mikoto joked. Anyway, Fuchan gets me in ways even Hina-chan can't. Whenever we've had doubts about our humanity, we both remind the other who and what we really are. And we both know what it's like to come from villages that put a large burden on us then take us for granted. It wasn't Konoha that made you a Jinchuriki Naruto, it was your father. I know what they did was bad, but you should never hold them accountable for what your father did. Mikoto corrected. I know. He wanted the best for me, but those that took his place had different ideas and turned the village against me. We don't know the full details of Fuchan's sacrifice, but it's safe to say the same basic thing happened to her. Or something worse. The whiskered blonde replied. Fuchan deserves to be happy probably more than I do, and she told me the only one she wants happiness from is me. She even gave me my first kiss. She did? Mikoto asked, surprised. I thought it was Hinata who did. She wanted to, but Fuchan beat her. Just after she became a genin and I congratulated her, she kissed me by surprise and told me to get strong because she wanted a husband stronger than herself. She hasn't said that since then. I think she was afraid to get between Hina-chan and me. Sounds like you really have her heart. The former Uchiha stated. I was really surprised, and when I told Hina-chan about it she asked me to kiss her. I was confused, but to be honest it was something I always wanted to do so I did. She told me she loved me and wanted to be my girlfriend. I told her I needed to think about it first because Fuchan was still on my mind, but since Fuchan was away a lot after that with team stuff it was easy for me to decide to give my time to Hina-chan more. Though I did still have fun with Fuchan when I could. I bet telling her you had a girlfriend was difficult. He nodded. It was, but she wasn't upset. I wonder if she had something arranged regarding me before I even knew what the council had planned for me. Mikoto nodded. It's possible. For legal reasons she does need a husband here in Oto to ensure Taki can never recall her. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Otokage-sama arranged for her to be betrothed to you before any of the other girls. Then why would she have been told before me? Naruto asked. She's older. She could handle it. Besides, once she was a legal ninja she would need to be informed in case Taki did anything. In any case, aren't you happy she wants to be with you like that? I'm happy all the girls want to be with me like that. And I'm happy they have faith I can treat them all right. Mikoto smiled, liking that answer. Doesn't make him sound conceited or like he's playing favorites. And what about the others? Haku-chan's always been great to me. Like Hina-chan and Fuchan, she understands what it's like to have a lot of people hate you for things you can't control. We didn't spend a lot of time together at first, until we started the academy and were assigned together to work on an assignment. We argued a bit because we were both too stubborn for our own good, and I think she said she hated me back then. Then later on when she was being bullied and beaten by older kids I defended her and even got her to use her bloodline for the first time. After that she apologized and wanted to be my friend. Wow, and now she wants to be one of your wives? Mikoto asked. It surprised me too. I just wanted another friend, not an enemy my own age. I don't know what I did to impress her so much, but to be honest I don't know that either with the other girls. Girls usually don't require so much from a guy at first. Naruto. They do prefer a guy who's dependable and stable and can support them, but you don't have to act like a peacock showing off his feathers to get their attention. Mikoto told him. I'm sure you won them over by being yourself, though I suspect your Hayaton played a part in earning you Haku's affections. You know, I actually picked that bloodline to show her I was someone she'd always be able to count on. She never really felt comfortable at school being one of the few in our class with a Kekkei Genkai, so I wanted to make her not feel alone by picking that to be one of my 9. Then we trained together in it under her mother, and I think she finally warmed up to me as a true friend. Must be hard to make an ice user warm up to you. Mikoto joked. Naruto smirked but said nothing, just changing the subject. Sasami-chan was at first a regular sparring partner for me, as well as someone who helped me learn how to use weapons and tracking. I was already being taught that by others, but I kept quiet on it to make her feel good about what she was doing, and I even offered her pointers when she needed them. Me and her were always platonic as far as I saw, but I did value her friendship and help. I have no idea why she's interested in joining. Who knows? Maybe she just likes blonde guys. Or maybe like the others you did something for her out of the goodness of your heart and it greatly touched her own. That seems to be why these girls are so interested in being with you even on a shared basis, Naruto. You think? Mikoto nodded. Absolutely. You should be sure to ask Sasami and the others if you're uncertain, but go on, tell me about the others and what you think about them. Naruto nodded. Tayuya-chan was probably the least expected of them all if you ask me. Well, except for one other. Anyway, like Haku, she wasn't really interested in being my friend at first, but unlike Haku, she was quick to fight me when we argued. But she did at least tell me she admired the fact I didn't back down from her or go easy on her because she was a girl, and I told her why would that matter to me? I was surrounded by girls all the time, so why would I think of them as weak? It was a long time later when she answered that and I finally understood her more, and made an effort to at least be on non-fighting terms with her. She didn't say it, but I think she was grateful for that and enjoyed my company even if we did fight, though by then we did it for fun and laughs, not anger. Temari-chan, I figured she'd find someone back in Suna for herself. I like talking to her and playing games. She's one person I've never been able to defeat in a game, but I did get lucky in one spar and defeat her. Boy, was her face red. I think her exact words after that were, "Now you're a man, Ruto-kun," and I was a bit confused but thanked her. Oh wow. Mikoto said. Naruto, most of the time when a girl says that to a boy, it means she likes him and hopes he sees her as a woman. Of course she is. I've always known that. Naruto objected. Mikoto shook her head once. No, Naruto, I don't mean being aware she's a female. That's completely different. I mean, you don't think of Tsunade-sama or your mother as women, do you? Naruto did not know how to respond to that. You recognize them as females, but the word woman isn't one you'd use to describe them, is it? Not unless it was like older woman or something. The blonde boy answered. You see my point then. Anyway, when a girl refers to a boy as a man in a positive way, it means she respects him and in some cases finds him appealing. And in almost all cases, it means she hopes he thinks the same about her, that she's a woman he respects and finds appealing too. So I impressed her and she decided that she thought we could be more than just friends? Naruto clarified. More or less. I'd say she just wanted to know she had a chance with you, and she's happy to get it. She is here after all, that must mean something. Naruto slowly nodded in understanding. In any case, I don't know what I did to get them, but I'm grateful all of them like me enough to try, and I just pray I never disappoint them when they do become my wives. Naruto, I've got to warn you, there will come times when you make mistakes. Everyone does it, be they husband or wife. There will come days when you displease one or more of them and they'll do the same to you. Sometimes they may punish you for offending them, and sometimes they won't even tell you what it was you did, and sometimes some of the other girls may join in on it. It's possible there may someday come a night where you have to sleep alone. However, while sometimes you should take it like a man, if it ever looks like the girls are too comfortable punishing you, that's when you step up and remind them love is give and take. Naruto sighed as if defeated. Why is it almost everyone I get relationship advice from makes it sound like the girl's happiness always takes priority over mine? For you Naruto, it should. A boy should prioritize how happy his girlfriend or wife is, but at the same time a girl should prioritize how happy her boyfriend or husband is. I'm not saying forget about your own and never do anything for yourself, just don't expect to get away with it all the time. Let the girls do it once in a while too, and you'll find most of them will prioritize your happiness as much as you prioritize theirs. Basically you give, and you get to take. Naruto nodded. That makes sense. But luckily I've still got a while to learn everything, right? As far as I know. Though don't assume once you're married you're done learning about relationships. You'll just be learning on new terms. Mikoto told him. And that was only 8 girls. You don't have all 9 selected yet? Naruto now looked uncomfortable. Well, technically. Technically? Hina-chan kinda made a deal with her sister Hanabi-chan. For the time being she's considered the 9th member. Mikoto tried to remember the girl, not easy since when she was in Oto over the past few years it usually was for business and not pleasantries. Hinata's little sister, what is she, 10? Naruto nodded. She's either quite mature for her age, or likes to think she is. She may outgrow it in a few years so why make a deal with her in the first place? Hina-chan didn't want to be a bad sister, and with Tayuya-chan actually vouching for her to join I didn't want to sound cruel. I've got nothing against Hanabi-chan, it's just I never pictured someone younger than me wanting to join in. So you got a thing for older women? Mikoto joked. I don't want to be seen as a pedophile was his simple response. So wait for her to grow up, or use your age control to make it happen sooner. Mikoto joked again. That's exactly what Tayuya-chan said. Naruto told her. Really? Mikoto asked, surprised, then she thought it over from a serious angle. I guess that could work. You think you might try it? I can't say I haven't, but there's a lot to consider Mikoto-san. He told her. First, she'd grow up and take on adult responsibilities faster than she would have alone. Second, she'd likely not be able to keep her friends her own age thanks to this. And lastly, there's the limits to consider. Limits? Naruto nodded. Only a few people know this because I didn't want enemy Nin finding out, but age control was never meant to be a permanent death cheater. Kyubi liked the idea of the bloodline, but he said there had to be limits placed on it to ensure I myself and my descendants didn't start thinking of ourselves as unkillable with it. Especially when you remember that old age is the least likely way for a ninja to die. Mikoto nodded. Anyway, there are 3 limits on age control. 1. A person can only be affected by it 9 times total. Not per user, total. After that the Kekei Genkai doesn't work on them anymore. 2. You can't make someone so old or so young that they cannot still be alive. I couldn't make someone like 200 years old or fetal, but 100 years old or even a day old is possible. And 3. It's a recessive bloodline to ensure we never have too many ninja here making people stay young as long as possible. Only the firstborn can inherit the Kekei Genkai, but children that don't can still pass it down to their firstborn. When you consider the risk of overpopulation I can see why such limits are needed. In a decade or two the population would get too much if the only reason anyone died was because of battle. Civilians would want to be young again too, not just old shinobi anxious to live again. Exactly. But in all honesty, you'd just be using it on Hanabi once and you and her would be sure to teach your child not to use it recklessly, so what's the risk you're afraid of? Naruto sighed. It just seems like too much of a sacrifice for her. It's still her sacrifice to make Naruto. And thus it's her choice to make. I'm not saying she should, but if she is willing then why not give her the same chance you'd give the others? You said you have nothing against her. I'm in an awkward situation here. If I keep her on and she decides to see another boy, I have to find a new ninth girl, and I don't think I can without it being a purely political marriage if that happens later. And if I look for a ninth girl ahead of time, Hanabi-chan will take that as a sign she's not wanted and be crushed. Is she not wanted? Mikoto asked. I just don't want to hurt her, Mikoto-san. The older woman sighed and placed her hand on his shoulder. Naruto, sometimes pain is inevitable. No one goes through life without being the cause of some pain, and like it or not, sometimes no matter what you do or intend, someone will still get hurt. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. You'll drive yourself crazy trying to find options where no one gets upset, and frankly, if you want to become Hokage someday, you're going to have to learn how to do what's best even if it's not painless. Sometimes I think being Hokage will be easier than having 9 wives. It very well could be. Mikoto replied with a grin. Later, after Mikoto left, Naruto sighed and drudged out of his room. I really should see someone about this. It was still daylight but not for much longer, so he knew he might encounter someone, but he had too much on his mind for idle conversion, so he hoped to avoid it. Before he left the Hokage tower, he did see someone and they saw him. Hi Naruto-kun. I missed you, she said as she came up to see him. Hi Hanabi-chan, nice to see you again. I wanted to see you earlier, but Ne-chan said you needed some time just to yourself. I didn't like that since I hadn't seen you in over a month, but I didn't want to bother you either. I'm fine now, Hanabi-chan, and actually you were one of the people I wanted to see today. The girl perked right up. Really? You wanted to see me? You and one other person. A lot has been on my mind lately, and I figured the two of you could help me on at least one of the things I keep thinking about. Sure, I'll help you. I'd do anything for you, Naruto-kun. That's what I'm afraid of, he thought. Come on, I've got to go see Orochi-san. I'll help you find him. Hanabi offered, and before Naruto could say anything she activated her Byakugan. Ah good, he's here in the tower. He's busy with Hokage-sama, but we can wait, can't we? Guess we have to. So why did you want to see me? Hanabi curiously asked. I don't want to say it twice, so let's wait until Orochi-san is here too so you both can hear it. The girl nodded. It must have something to do with me being in his harem. But what is he looking for? She wasn't sure what to say, but she knew that she had to do something or risk losing her right as a member. Problem was addressing him on the issue was a loaded gun. Wanna play a game while we wait? She asked, settling for something safe. Later on, Jiraiya left Orochimaru's office and encountered the two seated in the hall playing a card game. He had no idea what game they were playing or who was winning, but he could tell they were waiting for someone they couldn't interrupt. You two been waiting long? He asked when he came up to them. Ah, Orochi-san, just the person I wanted to see. Naruto replied. I wish he'd stop calling me that. I'm glad he won't around my son, but would it kill him to call me something a bit more dignified? The Toad Sage thought before speaking. What do you need me for? I needed some expert advice on something, and you're the only person I can think of who can provide it on this subject. He told him. Naturally, Jiraiya got curious about this. I'll be glad to help if I can. Well, it involves Hanabi-chan here. Naruto admitted, feeling a bit uncertain but determined to say what he needed to. Hina-chan and her have a deal arranged, so she counts as the final member of my required harem. We have been told of a way to safely include her, but before we do anything, I'd like to hear an outside opinion on this. Jiraiya was stunned. Say what? Naruto, she's 10. I know. But age control can get around that. You shouldn't abuse your power for things like that. I'm actually in favor of the idea. Hanabi interjected. What? Jiraiya asked, mostly out of curiosity than disbelief. Who do you think first came up with it? The young girl asked. I'm aware it sounds weird, but can't I at least make my case before someone else decides for me whether or not it's even an option? Naruto nodded. That's actually why I wanted you here, Hanabi-chan. You say what you want, I mention my concerns, and Orochi-san gives us an outside perspective on it. Since he's a super pervert, he should be the one most open-minded to the discussion. Jiraiya didn't look too convinced, but he didn't argue it. I suppose with so many women around him all the time, once in a while he needs the opinion of another man. And when the subject is dealing with women, I can see why he'd seek me out. Still, this issue is highly risky, but at least he's not rushing into it blindly. Seeing no objection, Hanabi cleared her throat and started. First of all, I have one question that will settle a lot of confusion here. Jiraiya-sama, is there a time limit on how long Naruto-kun is allowed to find enough official members? Not expecting that, the Sannin thought it over. Oto law states that for those under the CRA, which Naruto is under, 1 month per assigned candidate is the time allotment. So Naruto had 9 months starting from the day he became a genin to find enough girls willing to participate. And what makes them official participants? Hanabi asks. Well, the law gives 3 conditions to make membership official, any one of which can be met, but it has to be one of them. The first is pregnancy with Naruto as the confirmed father. The second is a legalized marriage and a physician able to confirm that the marriage was consummated voluntarily. The last is a mutually accepted betrothal contract between the man and woman that promises marriage but requires it to be held at a more opportune time past the CRA deadline. Any girl that doesn't meet those terms at the deadline is barred from being a part of the resorted clan. Okay, that helps a bit. Hanabi said. So far we've been under the impression that the only option I had was to be forced to become older. Now that we know my mother can create a betrothal contract with Naruto-kun's legal guardians, that pressure is off and we can discuss this much more rationally. Naruto smirked. Hanabi-chan, sometimes I swear you're older than you look. She smiled back at him. Thanks, Naruto-kun. Anyway, we can have my mother and your parents arrange this if nothing else, but I think we should first talk about the assumed plan of using age control on me. I know of the changes to my life it will cause, but it will have benefits. Such as? Naruto asked, wondering what her answer might be. I won't feel so singled out among the others and can do my part in the group sooner. It will also make it easier for me to defend myself in case Konoha ever manages to find us. And it's only 3 years. It could be worse, and is Naruto-kun really patient enough to wait that long? No comment. He answered. So in short, I'm more than willing to be aged 3 years and officially married with all the responsibilities that come with it. And yes, I'm aware of what that requires. Oka-san made sure to tell me everything about sex and menstruation while everyone was away in Konoha. I'm willing to jump forward to that part of my life, but if everyone else is set against it, then I'll agree to. A betrothal contract like with Nei-chan and Fu-san. Fu-chan? Naruto asked, then looked at Jiraiya. I was arranged to marry her all this time. Due to an international technicality, yes. Jiraiya answered. But since you voluntarily selected her, it all works out anyway, so don't worry about it. Also, she said something you really should know, Naruto-kun. I'll let her tell you herself though. Hanabi told the whiskered blonde. Naruto-kun, what do you think of what I told you about myself? I understand everything you said, Hanabi-chan, but people might still not like it. He told her. I'm not asking what other people think. I'm asking what you think, and I know for a fact you don't let other people make up your mind for you. That's when they talk about me. It's not the same when they talk about someone close to me. Naruto countered. Naruto-kun, do you have any enemies here in Oto who would hurt you for taking me as a wife? Or me for choosing to become older? Hanabi asked. People that would think I was being a pedophile, and we'd both be stuck with that stigma for the rest of our lives. He answered. Even if I make you look older than me, you'd still be legally 10 years old, and 10-year-olds can't get married. He turned to Jiraiya. Am I right? Yes. For the time being, age control doesn't circumvent the law. Even if you made her look as old as I am now — real age or altered age, Jiraiya-sama? Hanabi interjected. Chronologically, Jiraiya was 50, his body was now 34 like Orochimaru, with Tsunade being 33. Doesn't matter. You'd still be legally 10, and even the CRA says the youngest marriageable age is 13, so contract's your only option, if you can actually get your mother and his parents to agree to it. Like it or not, kid, you have to wait. Actually, you did provide me a loophole to that. Hanabi pointed out. Like what? That's for me and Naruto-kun to discuss, not you. Jiraiya did not like the sound of that. In that case, I only have this to say, I think this thing between you two is a bad idea. What? Hanabi asked, sounding mildly worried. My opinion was requested and I'm giving it. I think you being one of his betrothed is a bad idea. Why? Hanabi asked. It's not a good idea for a child be so eager to become an adult. You have no choice but to wait until you're older naturally and without age control, so you have to wait 3 years. A lot can happen in that time. You might lose interest in being with Naruto, or he might find someone better suited for the role you want. You never know. Hanabi looked undaunted. I understand, but Jiraiya-sama, let's say hypothetically Naruto-kun did accept me as one of his girls. Would you or anyone you know try to stop us? Jiraiya was silent for a moment before responding. There probably would be at least a few that might not be in favor of it, but in all fairness the same could be said of any of the other girls. But in all honesty, I doubt anyone would use force on the issue. But I still say this is a bad idea. Thank you, Jiraiya-sama. Hanabi said. Then there's only one last thing to cover. And what's that? The Toad Sage asked. Hanabi turned to Naruto. Naruto-kun, would you accept me as your 9th girl? This question surprised Naruto, but it also pleased him to hear it. I'm actually being allowed to decide this one for myself. The first time was mostly between Hina-chan and her, and my opinion wasn't really requested then. Nice to know it is here, like with all the other girls. He looked at her, then Jiraiya, then back to the white-eyed girl. Hanabi-chan, I shouldn't have to make this decision under pressure. I still have 2 months to get a 9th girl, so I would rather not be forced to decide all of a sudden. Can you be patient a little longer? I can, but only if you can promise me you're not just trying to avoid saying no right now. Hanabi told him. He knelt down and looked her in the eyes. I promise I am not simply trying to avoid hurting you. She smiled and hugged him. Thanks, Naruto-kun. Now that that's settled, you should probably go see Fu as soon as you can. Jiraiya told him. Either of you know where she is? He asked. I think she's at her apartment right now. Hanabi said. We were talking together, but she decided to head home early for some reason. Mind if I go see her now? He asked. Hanabi shook her head. Go, I'm sure she's not too busy. Jiraiya nodded. Naruto smiled. Thanks. Guys. I'll see you both later. He then headed off and down the tower floors. At the bottom before the door out, he ran into Hinata, who looked like she had been waiting for him. Naru-kun. She said happily when she saw him, and came over to hug him. Done with your girl talk already? He asked, holding her to him. We girls don't spend all day being chatty. She told him. I hope not. Anyway, were you waiting for me? She nodded. I had a feeling you were about to go out, so I waited. Did you need to go out on your own or can I join you? Not sure, Hanabi-chan told me Fu-chan had something to tell me and I was going to see if I could ask her directly what that was. Hinata deflated a bit but didn't look crushed. Oh, yeah, that's something you two should discuss right away. I'll just wait for you to come back then. Sensing her small amount of discomfort, he kissed her. I love you, Hina-chan, never forget that. I won't, she said, hugging him tighter. I'm not jealous or anything, just worried about how you'll react to what she'll say. I know what will make you feel better, he said, pulling back from her a bit. He pulled out a tiny scroll from the inside of his sock and opened it, revealing 9 seals inside. He drew blood across the one marked with a 1 and smoke emerged, followed by a diamond ring. I was saving this for a private moment when we got back home. Let this remind you that you were always my first choice. Cammy, if I'm dreaming, I swear my pillow is going to be ripped to shreds when I wake up. Hinata immediately thought, overwhelmed by what she was experiencing. Hinata-chan, will you marry me as my first wife? The Hibiki heiress instantaneously latched onto him, crying tears of joy. Yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Never heard you shout before. He chucked, then placed the ring on her. I've never had a reason to before, she told him, feeling like she could barely contain herself. Is something wrong? I heard a scream, Hitomi said, coming down the hall quickly. She had been in a bit of a panicky mood ever since the invasion. She had sent Hinata a shadow clone of herself, just one, as that was all she could manage, and sealed it away so Hinata could use it to demoralize the Hyuga during the invasion. Since the clone dispelled and she gained its memories, Hitomi was still a bit jittery that someone from Konoha might come after her daughter. Oh, you heard a scream, but nothing's wrong. Hinata teased her mother, then showed off her left hand. Oh wow, where did he get that gem? The older Byakugan wielder asked, impressed by the cut of the stone. That's my little secret, he said. Thanks, Guren. 5 minutes later, Naruto was by himself at the door to Fu's apartment. Fu-chan, he said as he knocked exactly 7 times. I'll never forget what happened the one time I forgot she rigged her door with a trap. The green-haired Jinchuriki always had her apartment rigged with traps to keep unfriendly people away, further proof of how much Taki had hurt her before she left the village. But also it kept her mind sharp in that field and allowed her to experiment in trap preparations. So only people who knew the exact way around it could get into her apartment. The one time Naruto forgot the process, he ended up flying like an angry bird, and landed in a river outside the village walls. After exactly 7 knocks, a panel aside the door pulled away, revealing a sign. It read, "Back door unlocked. Please enter through there." This was of course another trap, as no one in a ninja village would actually give such an invitation. Those that knew Fu knew the real message was, "I'm here but not able to come to the door right away, please wait a little longer." Anyone who actually did try to enter through the back door would find themselves hit below the belt by a spring-loaded trap. What exactly they were hit with Fu tended to change sometimes, from boxing glove to cattle prod or even her old garbage. So Naruto stood outside her front door, waiting for her to answer. I wonder what it is she needs to tell me. The door opened a crack, and Fu peeked out, her eye and some green hair being all that was visible. Hi Naruto-kun, I'm glad to see you. Come on it if you want. She disappeared behind the door and opened it further, but she couldn't be seen. Confused a bit, he walked in. It looked normal, or at least how he remembered it, albeit still a little dusty from her absence. Fu didn't have much, mostly a small couch, a TV on a few blocks, a low table, and in her bedroom a futon and dresser. Other than that, common apartment features. It was exactly like a bachelor pad, but to Fu it had always been more than enough. Haven't finished dusting yet, I see. He noted as he came in, still not seeing her. You did disarm all the traps, right? All but the perimeter defending ones. You know those ones stay up. Fu told him as she closed the door. I know. I'm paranoid, but living as an urchin who's hunted for 7 years tends to do that to a girl. Especially when we're taught to do our line of work. Oh, no judgment on my end. I could have easily become the same way," he said, turning around to face her. Once he did, he stammered and lost his composure right away. "Why?" Because Fu was completely wet and covered only by a green towel wrapped around herself. She saw him look caught off guard, and smiled with a bit of a blush. "Sorry about this. I just got out of the shower when you came over. Don't be so shy, you did see me naked and wet back before the preliminaries, remember?" "I didn't forget. I just wasn't expecting to see it again," he told her. "Is now a bad time?" "Actually, it's a perfect time since it's just us. Just let me dry off first. Don't want to get the couch wet," she said. He nodded and she retreated back to the bedroom. But again to his surprise, she didn't close the door as she dried herself off. "You want me to see you, don't you?" he asked. She turned to him with a coy smile, showing him her bare front side as she dried off her back. "Why not? Don't you like what you see? You're very beautiful, Fuchan. But I wasn't expecting to see this, so I'm a bit surprised, I guess is the best word." Fu giggled and started drying her hair. "I was the same when I saw you skinny dipping that time. But I didn't stay surprised for long. Why is it that I only hear men being accused of being perverts, yet the majority of perverts I've seen are women?" Naruto asked himself. Fu giggled but otherwise ignored his question. When she finished getting dry, she put on her underwear, then a white tank top and pair of shorts. Then she went to the couch and sat on it. "Sit, relax, get comfy. Just glad you're a little more dressed. What you were wearing was a bit distracting," he told her as he took a seat next to her. Fu shrugged. "You expect me to believe a big strong ninja such as yourself can't avoid a little distraction? You're teasing me, aren't you?" Fu smiled and stretched for a moment. "What gave me away? If I told you, you'd slap me." Fu smirked and playfully batted his shoulder. "You're so bad." "Maybe, but you still like me," he said, enjoying the friendly mood between them. Fu reached over and hugged him. "That I do. Very much so, Naruto-kun. Was there something you wanted to tell me, Fuchan?" he asked, thinking now was a good time to bring up the reason he came over. Fu let go of him but remained close. "Naruto-kun, in a nutshell, if I get promoted to Chunin, I may be forced to go back to Taki." "What? Why?" he asked, worried for her. He knew she had about as much desire to move back to Taki as he did to move back to Konoha. "It's part of the terms that were given by Taki when I came here. They predicted someday I might become strong enough to be useful, so they demanded that if I ever became Chunin I had to go back and transfer to their forces. If Oto refused, Taki would retaliate." Naruto frowned. "That's bull. I agree, but Taki's council refused to let me come here without something to ensure I would have to come back. They may have disliked me, but they did know I could become useful. They just thought it was smarter for Oto to train me instead of them. Just sounds stupid to me," Naruto claimed. "Did they really believe you'd have more loyalty to them than to us? I doubt they really cared about that. Is there anything we can do to keep you here?" he asked, gently grasping her arms as if to keep her from going anywhere. She smiled at his care and nodded. "There is. Luckily Shibuki-sama and I think 1 or 2 others did set up a loophole for me to stay here even as a Chunin in case I didn't want to go back. And you can help me, Naruto-kun." "How?" he asked. "I know this is asking a lot of you, but I need us to be married before I officially get promoted." "What?" he asked, mostly to get her to be more specific. "See. Unless I've got something tying me to Oto that Taki can't ignore without repercussions, legally I'll be forced back there to prevent a war between our villages." Such a war would attract attention to our village we don't want. But it was agreed that if before I became Chunin I managed to become an official member of a clan of Oto, then they'd have to let me stay here with the clan. So if I marry you this week, Taki cannot make me go back. There's no way they'd argue with us if we have your parents to back us up. Then wouldn't they be able to back us up if we weren't married? Naruto asked. Not saying I won't consider it, just saying there's a hole in what you're telling me. I see what you meant, but consider this, Naruto-kun. If we weren't married and stood up to Taki like that, it would be like saying, we don't care what we agreed to, we're keeping the Jinchuriki, and if you don't like it I dare you to fight the yellow flash over it. Basically, that's being a political bully. And ninja villages don't take being bullied very well. I guarantee Taki would find some way to get revenge on us for doing that. If we were married, we would have the moral high ground so they couldn't ethically do anything about it. Naruto arched an eyebrow. Since when do ninja only do things if it's ethical? Fu giggled and rolled her eyes. Okay, you got me there. But my gut tells me this is the best way to avoid a scandal. And I get the feeling that you and I will be promoted by the end of this week, so I wanted to ask now. And before you say anything, me and Hinata have already discussed this, and if you accept she will too, but she and I both agree you should fulfill your promise to marry her first. Naruto slowly nodded, realizing how much this meant to her. One last thing, Fu-chan, you said you need to be part of a clan. Have you considered the option of being adopted into one? You know Ba-chan always did like you and would have gladly made you a senju. Fu had once been offered to live with the others, and since Tsunade had taken a shine to the young girl when she first came to Oto, she could have been part of a family for years now. However, Fu always declined the offer, saying she was too used to living on her own to comfortably embrace any other lifestyle. This was the main reason she lived in an apartment. I know, but it could take days to make it official, and Taki would see right through such an effort. But a betrothal contract was made between you and I when I became genin, so Taki couldn't argue us getting married is just something done to circumvent them. So we really did have a contract between us? For over a year now? Why wasn't I told? He asked. Fu shrugged. You should ask Otokage-sama, not me. Naruto closed his eyes for a moment. She does have a solid argument. Kyubi, what do you think? If it were me, Kit, I'd say go for it and make her your mate. The fox told his host. After all, do you really have a reason not to? He opened his eyes and looked back at Fu. Fu-chan, is this what you want? I think the real question is, what do you want, Naruto-kun? She asked him back. You're one of my best friends, you understand me in a way few others can. I need you in my life, Fu-chan, whether you be a friend or a wife, as long as you're with me, we'll both be better off than we ever could be without each other. He then stroked the side of her face as his other hand went for his secret scroll to unseal an emerald ring. Fu-chan, will you marry me? She teared up immediately and threw herself at him. Yes. She hugged him tightly and nuzzled his chest, having never felt so happy and safe in her life. Even if he's only asking me now to protect me, it's enough to know he wants me as his wife. Even if you don't get promoted, I'll still marry you. He whispered to her, making her feel giddy for once in her life. Thank you, Naruto-kun. This means a lot to me. She replied, in no hurry to let him go. She did let him loose long enough to put the ring on her finger, though. Was there anything else we should talk about? He asked. Just one more thing. I've been thinking it over, and talked this over with the other girls, and I think you need a 10th girl. What? He asked, not expecting that. A 10th? Shouldn't 9 be enough? This isn't about that, Naruto-kun. Hear me out. Fu told him, then explained her reasoning for the necessity of a 10th girl. She told him everything, how she was at high risk during birth, how it would make passing her bloodline down too as well as his own easier, and how this would reduce her need for multiple pregnancies. That makes a lot of sense, Fuchan. The whiskered Jinchuriki told his friend. Too bad finding such a girl is going to be difficult. We'll manage. I'm sure there's another girl out there who'd be honored to be with you like the rest of us are. Let me think it over. I don't want this to be decided on a whim. He said, and she nodded. Anything else? Nothing that can't wait a bit longer. Right now, all I want to do is be held by my fiancé. She then turned to face him. What about Hinata? She's going to be upset I was the one you proposed to first. Actually, I already did. Just before I got here, but I had planned on it since before we went to Konoha. Lucky girl. And lucky me too. The green-haired Jinchuriki said before getting comfortable again. Do you think she'd be jealous if you stayed the night? Please, Naruto-kun. I want to know what it's like to sleep and wake up in your arms. She tried giving him the sad puppy eyes. Only as long as sleep is all that happens. I promised Hina-chan those activities first too. He told her. She nodded. I can wait. This will just make the wait easier. She then got comfy in his embrace again. Try and take me from him now, Taki. I'll squash you like a bug if you do. Hey! Shichibi said to its host. Sorry Shichibi, but am I wrong? No, just try a different phrasing next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe for more content. Support the original author by clicking their profile link in the pinned comment of the first video of this series. They deserve the love. Want early access and exclusive content? Join my Patreon community, link below. Your support fuels these videos. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next video. Stay entertained, stay safe.